Hey, and welcome to another Moonshot. Again, as always, I trust that your week's been fantastic. Now, for me, mine's been fairly full. Um, Last weekend in playing touch football, I took a spill scoring a try, and it wasn't even in a pressure game. We were just running some training sessions, but I just landed terribly, and with a separated shoulder, I suffered my first fracture. So, broken bone. So, my collarbone I snapped into four pieces. And surgery happened yesterday, so I've got a metal plate across my clavicle and held down with some screws. So this arm's not going to be moving too much during this presentation. But in challenge, I need you to know that there's no comfort. But in comfort, there's also no challenge. So you may have, as I have, heard it said that normal is staying inside your safe zone, letting the outside world and its cries define your boundaries and your destiny rather than the inner quiet whisper of your imagination. And most of you will agree that nothing worth having comes without some form of effort. And it's alarming how many people, though, are surprised that when they finish something they thought would be difficult, they find that it actually wasn't that hard. So if fear prevents us from doing anything we've not experienced before, which afterwards proves not as challenging as we'd thought, then what does that say about fear? It's unfounded. Fear is unfounded, and although the security center in our amygdala plays a necessary part in our defense system, it's just as important for us to understand that we are the ones who write the protocols for its autoresponders. And this isn't a subject that's taught yet a general school curriculum and often is never learned by the larger population, which essentially robs them and even the world at large of their potential. And not understanding how to deactivate and reconstruct the neural connections of our mind is the primary differential between those who succeed in things that they pursue in life and those who don't. Some of you may have heard me coach on the elliptical conscious competence matrix, which proves that because our learning is elevated through our conscious awareness increasing and expanding, what was hard becomes the new easy, the new standard, especially if you apply your energy to it. And clearly, to achieve something, you have to know what it is, what it looks like, what it feels like, what it tastes like, or you'll pass right by it without even realizing. And to keep it fresh in your daily doing and being, you need to be reminded of it regularly. And most make a huge mistake here and forget to break the objective into bite-sized pieces or milestones or checkpoints that can be readily accomplished. And instead, they have this monumental goal that they almost feel they can only be celebrated on absolute fulfillment with honors. Unfortunately, the soldiers in that war really return undamaged. So very few will ever achieve such a goal. In fact, it becomes a task, it becomes a chore, and the motivations to proceed wane rapidly because there's no sustaining stimulus or reasons to abandon it come with every breath and intervention. And the wounded contender limps into solitude, despairing and unworthy. Every step, no matter how seemingly small toward the intended outcome, has to be seen as absolutely positive, and rightly every mouthful of effort should be savoured with pride. This is what fuels your drive and persistence, the achievement of numerous small wins that accumulate into a worthwhile predetermined goal. This is what winning is, not just first place. A warning here though, simply thinking about, writing down, looking at it, won't bring it into fruition. There must be a strategic plan designed just as you'd have for any project that you want to undertake. Time must be allocated to it. What will be required? What will be expended? What will be resourced, outsourced, reviewed, measured, learned, prioritized, and achieved incrementally? The biggest misconception that becomes a major downfall is failing to realize that there will be challenges that will test your resolve, that will possibly stretch your capacity and even are beyond your experience and may seem overwhelming. without recognizing that because they are not yet assimilated into your library of accumulated knowledge, your mind has an imperfect measure on them and stands defensively primed in its natural state, which is to protect you by sounding alarm bells. The thing is, the bells of an experience are not the sirens of danger. They're simply saying to you, hey, I've got no history of this. What champions do in this situation, even with something they've never faced before, is identify how the experience is necessary for or will help their growth. And when you adopt an open mindset versus a closed one which is bound by fear, you'll embrace challenges as a wonderful opportunity to learn and to achieve and to be of greater value to those around you or even to the world at whole. If you feel that some of what I've shared in the past and today could help you in developing lasting change in your life, then reach out and let's talk about revealing some of that you that you dream of. Until then, live, love, and serve.